Coming up on AgweekTV, we kick off the 2020 Agweek cereal crop tour with stops around the region. Weed control presents challenges on last year's prevented plant acres. North Dakota natives return from West Coast jobs to start an organic farm. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. With COVID canceling most of the farm shows and field days this season, Agweek is hosting a crop tour series. For the next 2 weeks, we'll focus on cereal crops and then return in August with our row crop tour. I kicked off in South Dakota at the SDSU Research Farm near Volga. Winter wheat harvest is underway and early yield results are promising.
In the past 10 days, West River, they've started harvest and some phenomenal yields have come in. Reports from our seed growers and anywhere from mid-80s to up into 100 bushel is what we're expecting in some areas. We started harvesting this week here in the Brookings area and we were in the mid-70s, which was actually a pretty good for our crop as wet as we were, and then we got hot and dry too.
Also talk about protein levels and quality and how that is looking.
Well, I think for the most part the protein levels are obviously with the high yield are going to be down. As far as test weights, we've heard really good reports. We just had phenomenal conditions here just to get the crop done and get it harvested.
John Kleinjohn is also joining us right now. And John, I want to talk a little bit about the spring wheat crop and how that is looking, because we've seen some pretty high crop ratings throughout the spring here.
Well, in contrast to the winter wheat, I'm afraid that spring wheat might only be about average. We just had too much heat. I wouldn't say everywhere in the state, maybe Highway 212 south, just to kind of put a geographic area on it. Spring wheat really doesn't like it if it gets above 75 degrees, and we've had a pretty good run here of 80 to 85 to 90 degree temperatures. So I would say overall the spring wheat crop is probably going to be about average with pretty good protein. A caveat, you get up to the north central part of the state, I know some growers up there who think they're going to have their best spring wheat crop ever. So they just didn't get quite as much heat, and the timing of the heat that they did get was okay. So
John, when we talk about average yields in South Dakota, what are we looking at for spring wheat?
Oh, I'd say maybe around 50 to 60 bushel, probably closer to 50. But it's really hard to put a number on it at this point.
And quality with this crop, how does that look?
If the yields are down, I'd say the protein levels are going to be pretty good. 14 to 15, maybe touching 16 on some of it.
John, thanks so much to you and Jack for joining us here as we are on the South Dakota leg of the Agweek Cereal Crops Tour.
I'm Jenny Schlecht here in Wilton, North Dakota on the Agweek Cereals Crop Tour. I'm with Jamie Scherhammer. Jamie, tell us about this field we're standing in.
Spring wheat. It was planted early May. The thing that I really see right now in this field is with all the treatments we've done, we've still got quite a bit of disease showing up. And I think that shows the early wheat has so much disease pressure that no matter what we're doing, we're still beating up the leaves at this stage.
So how do you think that this looks in terms of yield?
I would say this will be an average field. I mean, we should get, our goal would be 80 to 85 bushel every year. I would say this field might be in that 60, 65. It was seeded maybe a little later than we'd want to. And again, we were dry early, so our earlier crops are a little beat up. And then when we did get rain, we really produced a lot of disease environment. So I would say this is going to be a 60, 65 bushel field.
And how is quality looking in terms of things like protein?
We have potential to have good protein. I would say we're more of a average to a little above average protein year. We're not going to be droughty where we have a tremendously high protein. The fields that we had to wait to seed, the May seeded fields actually look really good and potentials are really high, and I would say even higher than what we have here.
Now we're standing in a durum field. Tell us about what we've got going on here.
So everything we did, even as early as it was, and it was stressed a little bit from drought, I still think we've got a pretty good potential up here, 70 to 80 bushel durum in this field, even with it being hit by drought early. Quite a few more acres of durum than we had last year. It looks really good. Again, it's a later maturity, wasn't hurt as much by that early stress, so I think we've got a really nice durum crop coming. Durum is the latest cereal that we grow, so I would say we're not harvesting this field for at least 3 weeks.
Thank you, JB. On the Agweek Cereals Crop Tour in Wilton, North Dakota, this is Jenny Schlecht.
We'll have more from our cereal crops tour later in the show. But looking at spring wheat crop ratings, it does support the trends we're finding in the field. Heat has eroded the high crop ratings earlier this spring and has left an average crop. U.S. corn conditions held steady, but there is variability in the region. Ratings in Nebraska and North Dakota are in the 60s, but the rest of the region is historically high in the 80s. And U.S. soybean conditions improved slightly last week, but ratings slipped in much of the western corn belt. This spring's weed control programs have been more successful than 2019 in most of the region, except where farmers had prevented plant acres last season. SDSU's Paul Johnson says except for extremely wet areas of the region, there was a good window for pre-emergent herbicide applications. Post-emerge programs were a little more challenging with windy conditions, and so were wet and prevented plant acres.
These perennial weeds, we give them a year of no spraying and no tillage, and they've come on, and conventional rates of our common chemicals don't do a good job on them. They require high rates of Roundup.
He says that means additional herbicide application passes and cost. The most common perennials in PP acres are Canada thistle, brome and quackgrass, and even wormwood sage. USDA has released a report on the investigation into cattle market price fixing tied to the Holcomb, Kansas plant fire and the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it may be a disappointment to many. USDA did not find any violations of the Packers and Stockyards Act, but stated this was not a conclusion to the investigation.
We thought that this was going to be a final report on any market conduct violations, any wrongdoing. It doesn't address that in a meaningful way, which means that it's important for Congress to continue to keep the fire on USDA to make sure they finish the job.
USDA did recommend regulatory and lending changes to expand small meat processing capacity, plus ways to increase transparency, such as a library showing the contracts packers are offering and mechanisms to guarantee cash sales are sufficient for price discovery. The industry now awaits results from the Department of Justice probe. Coming up on Agweek TV, we'll see how a small organic family farm continues to grow.
With the success of the Case IH Tiger Quad Track and Magnum Road Track tractors, it's no secret why Case IH is the leader of the track. So it wasn't surprising when the competition started imitating us. But only Case IH offers a 5-axle design to give you a smoother ride, more power to the ground, with less berming and compaction. Still, we're flattered. In fact, if we weren't already red, we'd be blushing.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Advanced Grain Handling is your regional dealer for grain handler dryers, bins, and accessories. With Grain Handler's continuous mixed flow drying systems, you're capable of high levels of grain dryer efficiency on all types of grain, including seed grain. Advanced Grain Handling also carries West Steel's quality stainless steel products for on-farm and commercial grain storage solutions. Advanced Grain Handling has licensed and trained service techs and a licensed electrical shop. Get a hold of Chad Kylo to find the perfect solution for your farm.
North Star Ag is proud to add some exciting new products to their lineup this summer, including Meyer Manufacturing forage boxes, Myers Equipment manure spreaders, H&S beet carts, and Summers Manufacturing land rollers and tillage. This August, North Star Ag will be moving to a convenient new location just off I-94 in Tower City, North Dakota. We look forward to seeing you there.
Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Ross and Amber Lockhart continue to grow their heart and soil organic farm in rural Gardner, North Dakota. They left their non-ag careers to start their farm in 2012. And although there have been some changes, they remain committed to it. Jonathan Knutson has more in this week's Agweek cover story.
Being able to grow our own food is a really rewarding and gratifying experience.
Ross and Amber Lockhart left non-agricultural careers on the West Coast to improve life for themselves and their daughter, Stella. In 2012, they began on rented land and now have their own farmstead near Fargo. This is their 8th growing season, and the Lockharts generally are pleased with their progress, but they're always looking for ways to improve.
It's very difficult to find access to farmland. Here in the Red River Valley, there's a certain type of agriculture that's predominantly practiced, and so finding a space that was suitable for what we do, which is small scale, on just a few acres, growing vegetables, finding a site was a huge victory for us, and so that helped us kind of move forward in our endeavor and our business.
Ross took a full-time job off the farm for the steady income and health insurance. He still helps on the farm, but Amber is the primary operator. So they ended the CSA part of their business, but still sell at farmers markets and to restaurants.
We're not necessarily looking to expand so much as grow smarter with what we have.
The Lockharts built a high tunnel to extend their growing season and plan a second one. And like conventional farmers, they must deal with weather, markets, and balancing farm and family.
We're trying to focus on ways to make our farm long-term sustainable, and that includes, working on the soil health and our family.
The Ross and Amber have made changes in the business. They're still committed to what they're doing, and they still enjoy it. For Agweek, this is Jonathan Knutson.
You can read more about heart and soil in the next Agweek magazine or at agweek.com. A regional food company is poised to make a big splash in the world pasta market. But it's not made from wheat. AGT Foods has started producing veggie pasta made with dried yellow peas. As Jenny Schlecht reports, the company thinks the product will help meet a growing demand for gluten-free pasta.
It's a pasta made from one ingredient, just yellow peas. It has great nutrient value for consumers.
AGT Foods is known for processing North Dakota-grown pulse crops like chickpeas and lentils into ingredients for a variety of healthy foods, including snacks and pet foods. Now, in an area known for its durum wheat, you can add pea pasta.
You're eating peas, you don't realize that you are. It's very neutral tasting. It looks like pasta, it tastes like pasta, has similar texture to pasta, what you would normally get when you eat pasta.
AGT started in 2002 in the basement of its CEO's house in Saskatchewan, Canada. It moved to North Dakota in 2007, opening factories in Minot and Williston. It has grown into one of the world's largest pulse processors, with more than 40 factories around the globe. Right now, veggie pasta is sold in some North Dakota grocery stores, but they're already getting global interest in it.
The opportunity for this pasta is big. The fact that we're not just going to produce it and distribute it in North Dakota. This is a product that is going to really go from the farmers' fields in North Dakota to mine it and distribute it around the world.
In Bismarck, this is Jenny Schlecht for Agweek.
Ahead on AgweekTV, we resume our cereal crops tour in northwest Minnesota.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Crary Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Crary offers two solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Crary Air Reel or Crary Wind System today.
Keep your equipment in the field when you need it most with parts from Titan Machinery. We carry a full line of high-quality Case IH parts designed for optimal performance and durability. We also carry alternative parts options at lower price points with rugged designs for a great mix of affordability and performance to fit a wide variety of makes and models. Contact your local Titan Machinery location today or shop online at www.titanmachinery.com. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH parts leader.
Dynaflow is the ultimate high-volume water management pump. Whether you're experiencing flooding, emptying sloughs, transferring ponds, or working on irrigation, the Dynaflow pump works in as little as 18 inches of water and is designed to move 3,000 gallons per minute. The Dynaflow lift pump is the perfect upgrade to your drain tile system. Using line shaft turbine pump technology, these pumps are made to last while operating efficiently. Dynaflow drain tile pumps can move up to 1,500 gallons per minute, up to 3,400 feet away.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has a storage solution for you with a wide variety of bin options and accessories, along with site planning and superior customer service. Plus, from top to bottom, we offer the industry's best bins and warranties to protect your products and your grain storage investment. Get superior quality, protection, and reliability with generations of experience and dependability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
Change is constant in the ag industry. Stay ahead of the change with the latest ag news and insights from experienced ag journalists with an Agweek membership. Get unlimited access to ag markets, tech trends, policy news and products, along with farm life insights, profiles, and more with light access. Upgrade to all access and get unlimited access to all of our FCC news sites, along with your award-winning ag news. Become a member today at agweek.com/subscribe for the ag news you need.
Welcome back. Our weather's been mostly favorable for corn pollination, but what's ahead as we enter the reproductive stage for soybeans in August? Here's John with our agri-weather outlook.
Weather portion of Agweek, you get into the latter part of the summer, the second half of the summer, and a number of things typically change climatologically. One of them is that we're not going to see quite as much heat. A lot of that is because we actually have seen a number of severe weather outbreaks and some areas of generous rainfall. When the July is dry, August has a tendency to be quite hot. That may not be the case this year. So it will not be so hot, nor generally speaking as rainy. And we're going to take a look at an interesting stormy weather dichotomy, focused mostly on the northern plains, but this really applies to much of the upper Midwest, northern plains, Corn Belt region. This is a map of average temperature departure from average, right? Since the 1st of June, and I'm using the North Dakota Ag Weather Network site, which covers North Dakota, parts of western Minnesota, and a little bit of the surrounding area. So this is the average daily mean temperature since June 1st, and there's a large area of eastern North Dakota, the Red River Valley, and this goes down to the south as well. It's about 4 to 5 degrees above average, meaning each day, had it been 4 to 5 degrees cooler, would have been an average summer. So it's very significantly hot. It traces down to closer to average over western North Dakota, but still it's been a warm summer in the northern plains. Now, factor in the precipitation, and this is really the dichotomy I was talking about. A large area in northeast North Dakota, northern Red River Valley, northwest Minnesota has around 200 to 300% of normal rainfall. In other words, about double to triple what average would fall to this date, to the latter part of July. Sandwiched in between that are ribbons that are down less than 50%. So it's either extremely dry or extremely wet, and that is not unusual in a summer that has been very warm because most of the rain has come from big thunderstorms, which tend to be very widely scattered, but potentially very heavy. So the pattern this week looks like this. The jet stream meandering a bit and definitely not quite the hot wave pattern that we've seen. In fact, the real hot weather will be squelched a bit, focused mostly in the southwest. Even down south, it'll cool down a little bit. Don't see a lot of really chilly weather after all. It is the mid part of summertime. Only really up in Alaska and the far north and around Hudson Bay is there any particularly cool weather. As we move into the second week, we're going to see the hot weather lingering over the southern plains and the southwest. Just a lot of 80s to around 90 elsewhere. I don't really see a lot of extraordinary heat anywhere. Thunder showers, rainfall will be a little above average down south. Most of the Midwest, upper Midwest, northern plains will be a little drier than average for the next couple of weeks. And that's another sign of the waning second half of the summer weather season. Still a little warmer than average, but a little dry.
Be ready for the challenging field conditions you face with the Summers VRT Renegade. With on-the-fly adjustment, including blade angle from 0 to 19 degrees, the VRT Renegade gives you unprecedented flexibility for the field results you want, spring or fall. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about the VRT Renegade and North America's broadest line of tillage equipment from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Luckin Trucks and Parts sells quality used parts for all makes and models, with over 50 acres of trucks and parts and new inventory arriving daily. Family owned and operated since 1966, Luckin's specializes in the sale of quality used medium to heavy duty truck parts as well as pre-owned trucks, trailers, and construction equipment. If it's on a truck, we got it. Call us today and let us get you your part.
2020 has started off where 2019 left off, with a lot of uncertainty and concern. Is your farming operation ready to take the volatility this year has to offer? Do you have a marketing plan in place to take advantage of opportunity? Are you finding it hard to separate the noise from the news? Talk to the professionals at Martinson Ag. We can help you make sound risk management decisions that will help your operation survive during these unusual times.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
Welcome back. We pick up our 2020 Cereal Crops Tour with a trip to northwest Minnesota. Mikkel Pates checks on the barley and wheat crops near Argyle.
This is a cereal crops tour, so we're going to focus especially on our barley and wheat. I guess there's more of the wheat around here, isn't that right?
Yes, wheat acres are up again this year. Most of the people with wheat acres have experienced some serious troubles with water in this area. Barley acres have been down in the past couple of years. We're standing in a decent barley field for this area, and actually it came up a little uneven because of dryness.
And we kind of picked this spot because of a transition with some of the weather, right? Can you tell me about that?
Correct. This area is about 5 inches above average rainfall for this time of year. Right to the north of us and right to the west of us is closer to 10 to 12 inches above average rainfall, so it's kind of disaster.
Tell me what kind of barley people usually are growing here and what kind of yields they expect.
Well, we've had a transition from 6-row barley to 2-row barley, and the yields have stayed fairly well. I mean, 100 bushel barley is a nice yield in this area. You can get a little more and you can get a lot of 80 bushel barleys. It just depends on the year.
Tell me about the wheat situation.
A little struggle getting it in, because of wetness this spring, and our wheat got stretched out from basically April 15th to some guys actually planted June 10th, which is very late wheat. We've been seeing from 90 plus bushel wheat on a lot of farms, and that's a nice wheat yield.
Well, thank you, Scott Edgar from North Star Ag at Warren, Minnesota. This is Mikkel Pates for the Agweek Cereal Grain Crop Tour.
We'll continue our cereal crops tour next week. Hundreds of Hmong farmers settled in Minnesota after fleeing Southeast Asia following the Vietnam War. Many used their farming heritage to make a living when they settled in the U.S. Now they're a big presence at farmers markets in the Twin Cities in southeast Minnesota. The USDA says over half of all producers there are Hmong American farmers. The Hmong American Farmers Association was formed in 2011 as a way for Hmong farmers to overcome barriers. Minnesota Ag Department Commissioner Tom Peterson estimates there are between 400 and 500 Hmong farmers in Minnesota. He says access to affordable land is their biggest obstacle.
Is a really big issue, but now we're starting to see some Hmong farmers be able to buy land and starting to farm more in different places, and so that's great too.
In 2013, Hoffa helped secure a 155-acre plot of land in Hastings, Minnesota for Hmong farmers to grow a variety of crops to sell at markets set up by Hoffa. Still ahead on AgweekTV, we'll see what's new at the nation's first autonomous farm as it holds its first field day.
Growing up as a kid, Gateway was always the grain bin building and the grain handling people that were out in our area. One of the reasons we chose to go with Gateway was they're the leader in the industry and they are the #1 Brock dealer in the United States. We've really liked the Brock design and some of the designs that Gateway has come up with throughout the years. My best advice would be to just put your trust in them and let them come up with the design that's going to fit your needs.
North Star Ag is proud to add some exciting new products to their lineup this summer, including Meyer Manufacturing forage boxes, Myers Equipment manure spreaders, H&S beet carts, and Summers Manufacturing land rollers and tillage. This August, North Star Ag will be moving to a convenient new location just off I-94 in Tower City, North Dakota. We look forward to seeing you there.
Join us August 8th through the 10th in Huron, South Dakota for the National Red Power Roundup. Come see the history of International Harvester, machinery, and agriculture-related memorabilia. On-grounds fun includes live music, daily parades, exhibits, vendors, and more. Pre-roundup fun starts Friday, August 7th with the Titan Machinery Great Plains tractor and pickup pull in the grandstand. Tickets are on sale now. For more information, log on to redpowerroundup2020.com.
Agweek brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join Jenny Schlecht from the Agweek editorial team and me, Al Windmill, from the sales and marketing team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories, along with guest interviews with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you're involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the Agweek podcast is the show for you.
For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. The Grand Farm Project Initiative held its first field day this week. The autonomous farm is on 45 acres east of I-29, about 10 miles south of Fargo. They showed off projects on soybeans, corn, wheat, and sunflower plots. This field day focused on NDSU research in crop and soil health. Director Brian Carroll says the farm creates an ecosystem in which ag tech companies can work together and accelerate innovation.
As we build the Grand Farm out, what we're using these events to bring people together, showcase the Grand Farm, and invite people to be part of this project. And so in order for us to be successful, we need to take advantage of the really strong organizations within our region, and to be able to do that, we need to have opportunities to gather and to showcase what we're doing.
Current partners in the Grand Farm include NDSU, USDA, and CHS. The farm plans to hold about 14 field events over the next few months. Thanks for watching this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com, and you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Have yourself a great and safe week.